She has taught us how to make the perfect garden, the perfect flower arrangement, the perfect linen closet, the perfect casserole. Yes, we're talking about Martha Stewart, and I watched her biopic on Netflix. Have to say, interesting watch. And it was kind of like, as I was watching this, I felt like she was kind of in the hot seat and willing to take it. The tough questions, the easy questions, the story of her life. And for someone that I think was very private, and really just, we only saw her public persona, the biopic really does take you behind the scenes of what makes Martha Stewart tick. So welcome, this is Lydia with the Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology channel. And on this channel, I like to read the charts of famous people because I think it helps us to better understand our own lives and our own charts. And as I unpack this fascinating woman's chart, Bazi Astrology, I am going to show you how the fire penalty can show up in our lives in an explosive and surprising ways. I'm also going to show you where she is in 2025 moving forward. She is not a spring chicken. It's amazing. She was born August 3rd, 1941 at 12:30 in the afternoon. And I'm going to show this to you. I don't always have these printed out. Sometimes literally it is on napkins. So this is Martha Stewart. These are her 4 pillars plus her life pillar. So we can see she's born in the year of Yin metal snake, the month of Yin wood sheep, the day of Yin water sheep, and the hour of Yang earth horse. Now your 4 pillars, it's amazing to me. I have been a master Bazi Chinese astrologer, also called 4 pillars, for over 22 years now. And every chart lands accurately. I don't know you. I do your chart. We sit down and have a Q&A, and you're going to tell me. I cannot believe how accurately this lands for me. And that is the beauty of astrology. These 4 pillars reveal so much about who you are and your relationships, your journey, your karmic journey of this life. And so here we have Martha Stewart. And no surprise that in her chart, there is a signature that speaks of somebody who's very good at planning and organizing things. That can also be very stubborn and bullheaded or sheep-headed. Sheep tend to be stubborn people. So there's so much to be said. Let's start with breaking down her 5 elements, and then we're going to go into her personality trait, and then we're going to go into relationships, work, career, and then her luck cycles. And again, in these luck cycles, you're going to see how someone's 10-year luck cycles that we all go through impacted her life positively, negatively, and that day of sentencing, the explosive shock that surprised us all. So here we go. She is a yin water person. Now, I'm going to hold this up again. Look, nowhere in her chart is there any more water. So she is not rooted in her chart. That leaves her very vulnerable. She's born in the month of the sheep, so her pattern is earth. And earth, as we know, anybody been into the beach, the earth absorbs water. So let's now look at these elements. because she's a water person with only 9% water. So that's weak, really weak. The amount of metal nourishing her, 17%, is good that it's there and that's strong. That is helpful. Wood is what she creates and manifests. That's 15% balanced. Fire is what she manifests. That's her money. That's 18%. Great. So much energy is put into her career and potentially marriage, romantic relationships. Though I don't think, having seen this biopic, and you can tell me in the comments if you agree or not, but I don't think that romantic life really played for her a great importance. I think her own journey and her own career was the most important thing. Anyway, so Earth is 42%. This gives me the impression this is a fake follow power chart. In order for it to be an actual follow power chart, or even a dominant chart, you would need a full fire, you would need a full earth trio, and you would need to have no water, which is impossible because she's a water person. So then there you go. There's no way to remove that, basically. So when we look at her career with the elements, a homemaker is earth. A celebrity is fire. A writer, a gardener, a flower arranger, that's wood, a publisher. You could also say that her charitable acts are also earth. So all of her energy really is in output, okay? It's interesting, she started out in finance because finance is metal, the stock market, metal. And so that actually was a career that directly nourished her and supported her. In a lot of ways, a more favorable career path, but that wasn't the way that she was going to go. So we know that she came from a big family of Polish descent, and her relationship with her mother looks like it was very difficult. Like her mother was likely very authoritative, critical, and harsh towards her. Whereas her father, there seems to be a little bit more like she enjoyed doing things with him, or that they did things together. I know that they actively went out and did gardening together. She seems more aligned with him than with the mom. Then we look at her day. Because her month is the sheep and her day is the sheep, we see that the relationship with her mother is exactly the same as it is for romantic partners. It is a challenge. I was just doing a Q&A with a chart reading the other day. I have the same signature in my day pillar. It is not easy, I'll tell you that. If you are a yin water person and that day pillar is an ox or a sheep, your path in life is that you came in to learn the lesson of love, and it is not an easy one. These relationships will challenge you. They will push you. They will demand a lot. They will be critical of you. They will push you. Now, it sounds like you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of relationships with bullies or with critics or with obstinate assholes, right? If this speaks to you on any level and you enjoy astrology, please subscribe, hit the bell, and like the video. And if you're curious about your own Bazi Astrology, I'll put the link below, because right now, as we're headed towards 2025, and you're curious what your next year is going to be about, I am giving a free 2025 update with month-by-month predictions specific to your chart. Now is the time to get that written astrology chart read. And you get a 30-minute Q&A with me. Fun bonus. All right. Back to Martha. In life, we must recognize our lessons so that we can grow and move past the challenge. Did you get the lesson? No? Okay, we're going to still keep pushing you until you get the lesson. Kind of like you come up against a wall and you keep banging on it thinking it's somehow going to move. That the difficulty in front of you, the obstacle, is just going to move because you keep banging on it. That's not how it works. All you're going to do is make yourself frustrated, worn out, burn out, and not in a very good place. The thing to do is to recognize, what is this challenge? What is this guy teaching me about? How can I grow in the challenge? How can I make it medicine that makes me a better person? Now, tucked inside this sheep for her is a father figure, which suggests that she's more likely to date men older than her, significantly older. Now, that wasn't the case, but it could have been. Also, that they are likely to cheat on her, which definitely happened. And that they contribute financially, and that they are actively engaged in doing things together. Okay, like projects, like working things, which they did with her first husband anyway. I don't know about that guy that she dated on and off for like 15, 16 years. I got a weird vibe over that guy. I don't know about you, but anyway, wealthy people dating wealthy people. So not an easy path for her for relationships. So it's really no wonder that she was kind of like, I don't even want to deal with this. It's just whatever. Her hour is interesting. Her daughter, Alexis, I think she has struggled in that role of being a mom and a parent. And that can certainly be if your relationship with your own parents was challenging and not an easy journey. And you're trying to figure out what are the tools that I've got to raise a human if I wasn't raised in a way that was supportive or kind or whatever. So for her daughter, she comes off. There is a real battle within that relationship of, again, yin earth. That earth is her enemy. It is what challenges her and criticizes her and judges her. So she has got a harsh critic from her mom and older sisters, if she has those, from her partner, love interest, husband, and also from her daughter. And as this is her hour, her career. This is a part of her life that she must learn to deal with bullies, with people that are critical of her, of people that judge her and push her hard. And with her daughter, there is also this element of Martha being more of a father figure, more patriarchal, more authoritative, certainly not maternal at all, certainly not nurturing. And her daughter will inherit wealth from her. All right, for her hour, again, this is her career. This is the horse. And when you have an hour of the horse, that's like an ascendant quality. And it adds vitality and physical agility to her astrology. They are people that are restless. and they get bored easily. A little bit like a monkey, but more impassioned, more impulsive. There is a youthfulness to the horse here. There is a real flush of energy for her. This is her career. Her career is home. It is family. It is all of her responsibilities. She's making money by diversifying in so many different ways. And again, her career is going to challenge her. She is going to wind up in many different places where she is working. Again, diversified. So all that to be said, how does their chart interact with each other? Well, she's born in the year of the snake. She's got 2 sheep and a horse. This is a full fire trio. That full fire trio is feeding the pattern, feeding that strong earth in her chart. And it's weakening her water. In some ways, it's almost as if her watery self gives up. And that can happen where your day element can't be sustained. And so the pattern, the dominant element, takes over. I've had that happen in my own chart during a particular luck cycle. All right. There are no other interactions with these. I will say her chart is very yin. It's very in the divine feminine. And if you look at her, my God, she is the divine feminine, right? All things that we think of with nurturing, nourishing, beauty. So then we notice that everyone has 2 nobleman stars. Not something I talk about a whole lot, but they're basically your angels. Okay? So for somebody born who is yin water, like myself, nobleman star is the snake and the rabbit. So for instance, if she were to be in a relationship with somebody that is a rabbit, they would be like her protector, her angel. When you have that show up for a year, and that year can come with blessings. Like I said that about Kamala Harris. Her 2025 is a nobleman star. And so we can wonder, how will that play out for her? Okay, so let's now delve into her luck periods, which began when she was 8 years old. And obviously, your first luck cycle can be anywhere from the time you're born till you're 9 years old. So 8 is a long time to still be connected to that energetic cord with your mother. And when she broke away into her sovereign self at the age of 8, all the way to the age of 17, this was a girl that was smart, precocious, creative, intuitive, active, rebellious. This is a full, again, the fire trio is emphasized. This is a yang wood horse. This is a lot of energy pushing her out into her little life. Her father is mentioned as being the dominant, influencing parent during this time. And that there was a lot of challenge, critics, bullies. Maybe that was her dad. Maybe that was a school teacher or 2 or 3. Maybe it was a sibling. But in this time, we also know that she started modeling at the age of 15, that she was babysitting, and it mentions that she's earning money. And that yin earth can be not just bullies and difficult people in her life, but it can also be a jump start to a career. All that makes sense. So wood and fire, not helpful for her watery self. In fact, I would almost venture to say that the best thing elementally for her is to see metal show up in her luck cycles or in the year to better support her. Then we come to ages 18 to 27. During this time, we know that her daughter was born, she got married. Actually, I think she got married in 1960. And then her daughter was born 1965, I believe, Year of the Snake. Haha, Year of the Snake, like her mom. And then, so this was interesting because this snake, you know, again, the first luck cycle horse, amplifying the fire trio. The next luck cycle snake, amplifying the fire trio. And there is that yin water sitting on top of the snake, just sizzling away, evaporating, literally. I don't think there is much that she can gain from it, but there she is. She shows up, yin water. Here I am, my sovereign self, confident, capable, decisive in my adult life at the age of 18. This is a time that speaks of success, of money, of moving, of acquiring property. It speaks a little of her mother and the role of mother. And it speaks of things like government, law. This was really a message of her career and the start of family, all of her responsibilities. This was when she was a financier, when she was working in the stock market. And so all of this feels very big and abundant, very big and abundant. So now things really change. 1970, Yang water, dragon. This is different. This is wet earth. This is earth that is not hot and dry, and like her own sheep, which is hot and dry earth. This is springtime earth that is damp and full of water and wood, the impetus that brings spring flowers. And the Yang water says that at the age of 28 to 37, she was beginning to play new roles, that she's exploring her identity. Who am I? Maybe now I want to reinvent myself. There's mention of marriage. There is mention of family, of home, of her career. And a daughter who by now is many years old, several years old, and herself. There is a real collaborative, partnering, working with other people, working with the public aspect to this. But it feels, not that there's any money mentioned here, but it does feel like it is about her, the roles that she's playing, how she's identifying with herself, and all of her work, and how she's enjoying what she's now doing. Then we get to 1980. This is another interesting time. This is yin metal rabbit. And that in of itself is a battle because the metal and the wood are fighting with each other. They both are pretty balanced. That metal is giving her backing. This is educational. This is inspiring. This is her getting funding for things, funding for projects, backing from a publisher, for instance. Sorry, bugs. And remember that the rabbit is the nobleman's star of protection. And the rabbit with her two sheep form a semi-wood trio, which is that impetus to create and to create big, 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 amplified big. There's a lot of mention of her really enjoying this time of her life, that the focus for her is on the creation. It's on the doing. And her daughter is a big part of this time as well. Now we get to 1990, the year she got divorced. A new luck cycle comes in. This is Yang Metal Tiger. This is a Yang component to what she experienced the previous 10 years. And the Yang is needed because, again, she is too Yin. And we want the balance in our lives. We're seeking the balance. So the Yang is positive here. This is emphasizing law. This is emphasizing government, politics. This is also about the mother. I don't know if her mother died during this time, or if this was about her own journey as a mother, or if this wasn't just about women and the home, right? But this was a very changeable time. And it was a time when she could have lost money. She could have lost reputation. She could have lost a marriage, which she did, because the tiger forms a semi-fire penalty with her snake. So 1990 to 2000 was not a very easy time for her. There is a lot of change, and the change may not have been so easy. This feels almost like she's rebelling, she's pushing, she's trying new things, innovating. What's happening here? There is money, there is success, there is moving, there is property. And there is mention of the marriage breaking up, tucked down in that tiger. And remember, when we have conflict in a chart, it can break things open. And so that's what it feels like. We're breaking open into great success. This is the 90s. I think this might have been the peak of her career. I remember working at Borders Books and Music, and it was like there was a whole section of the bookstore just dedicated to Martha Stewart. And so there is tucked into this the marriage, the family, her work. And it feels like this tiger in penalty with the snake breaks a lot of good things open for her. But again, it comes at a price. She lost the marriage. I don't think that was something that she really wanted to have happen. But I don't think she felt like she had a choice, maybe. So then we get to 2000. And 2000 is when she went to jail. And you watch the biopic, and it explains how cray-cray that whole thing was. You know, like they just needed a verdict. Anybody. We got anybody. Well, they will take you. You're a perfect one. Anyway, this was Yin Earth Ox. Everything changed. Because when you look at it, even with the fire, even with the earth, even with, there was water in the stem there, or for 2 decades. Then the previous 2 decades, we had metal. There was a certain amount of support going on the last 40 years. And now she's in her 50s. This is Yin Earth. Sitting on Yin Earth, which is the ox. And the ox is the enemy of the sheep. So if she thought things were rough in the 90s and challenging for her, it was a wake-up call from the ages of 58 to 67. And at this point, this is very interesting because I'm going to tell you in a second about the day of sentencing. because it was during this luck cycle that this happened. And this is where astrology gets interesting, that we can see this go down. This is a big, huge shakeup to her career. Massive, massive shakeup to her career. The ox harms the horse in her hour, which is her career. And it takes down fire, which is her money. It is a loss of wealth. In addition, the ox forms a semi-earth penalty with her 2 sheep also. This is directly her as a sheep person. This is personal to her. This is a direct attack. And again, the fact that the ox then harms the horse, her career, this is taking her down or attempting to. And it is personal. It affects her public image. And it shows that there is backing. There is support there for her, but it is tucked down in there and hidden. And the earth penalty boosts up the earth, so it's reinforcing this heavy, heavy price that is just drained her. This earth penalty boosts earth and brings down fire, a second hit to fire, second hit to her finances. And she lost big. Now she recovered. She recovered. But at this time, this was a mess. So water is weakened. That is her sovereign self. Fire, both a harm and a penalty, bringing down fire, her wealth. And that this is hitting her personally and the hour. Then, July 16th, 2004, she goes in for sentencing. In a year of a Yangwood monkey, a month of yin metal sheep, and the day of yang fire monkey. That is explosion. That's explosive day. Okay. And there we see it. The monkey. The monkey shows up on this day and brings, get this, the monkey represents government, law, lawsuits, basically going to jail or being, on trial is this situation. And this is also a year tucked into this monkey, lesser influences, but still notable. This is a hit to her career, her home, her family, all of her responsibilities. And it is an identity crisis. Who am I now if I'm not the brand Martha Stewart? And the other thing that's interesting is that her void animals are rooster and monkey. And when we have voids, we all have 2 zodiac animals that are void. And those void animals mean that it is very hard for you to get traction. It is very hard for you to move forward in life. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And there it was. An explosive day. And the yang fire was her wealth, her empire. Boom, exploding. Unbelievable. But there it was, and there it happened, right? And it is not to promote fear in you if you have a fire penalty situation happening for you next year. For instance, you have monkeys or tigers in your chart, right? The point is that when we know in advance, which again is the whole point of knowing your astrology, that when you know in advance, you can work with it. And one of the greatest messages as we flow through life is to flow. You cannot expect that your life is always going to be good health, good wealth, good relationships, good, perfect. Look at Martha Stewart. She was living the perfect life. She was managing and organizing every last bit of this. This woman is an idealist. She is a dreamer. She is somebody that is a creator. And she loves to socialize. And she's got a big heart for love and romance, if that were her path for this life. But I don't think it is. Yeah. And she is a force to be reckoned with. She is competitive. She is somebody that chases after her desires. She does not like to sit still. She likes to be on the move, and she can be manipulative. She can be confrontational, and she will fight. Right or wrong, she will fight. And again, she's an organizer and a planner, and stubborn as hell. And that's kind of a bit of her personality. You can also see, as a person born on the day of the sheep. Sheep are our musicians. They're our artists. They're our creators. They're our innovators. They've got kind of this very gentle approach. It's like her voice is very soft, but it can be strong. Now, interesting, right? Because the snake as her year gives her this, that's where her beauty comes in. The snake is very also serene and very shrewd, very perceptive, very behind the scenes, seeing how all of this is going to play out and then enacting it. So snakes are people that really see the big picture of things, which is really how the only way I can think of that you can do a life that becomes its own world, the Martha Stewart world. She bounced back. Took her a couple years, few failed things, but she made it back. All right. So we got past sentencing. We got through this really challenging luck cycle where she has got to reinvent herself over and over. And we come to 2010. She's 68 to 77. This is a Yang Earth rat. Very different energy, right? It's an easing up of some of the earth, though the earth is still there. But the rat comes in and offers water. Except that the rat harms her sheep and harms the water coming in. Damn. Yeah, I know. And the rat is banging up against her career of the horse. This is yin water and yin fire. This is sizzling. It is hot. Now, that can be an alchemical combination that can work for you. For instance, that water and fire being money, could be that is the product of the conflict happening in her career. But what I see more than anything is that this feels like that decade was very much about her career, her family, her home life, and her. Rebuilding her audience, rebuilding herself, reclaiming this is who I am with confidence and ability. So there's a stability that feels like it's coming back in, but not really. Something feels off. You even look at Yang Earth sitting on Yin Water. That's like an island of Earth sitting in a stream. You know, it doesn't feel like the water can really sustain itself. And that's the fight of her life, is that she hold on to her watery self. Now we come to 2020, the luck cycle that she is currently in. This is Yin Fire Pig. The pig again is bringing in water with wood and fire. So there's a little more flow, which is nice. But I tell you, it's like for 3 decades, 4 decades now. She had the fire penalty with the decade with the tiger. She had the direct conflict and earth penalty with the decade of the ox. She had the rat banging up against her career all through the 2010s and harming the water in her chart and her sheep. Now, 2020, the pig is banging up against her snake. Now, not as bad, like it's eased up off of her career. And this is more her overarching situation. But this is, again, a battle of fire and water. And fire at 18%, water at 9%. And even though the pig is trying to surge in a big waterfall of water, this is kind of a time in her life when she is shifting her relationships. You know, her relationship with Snoop Dogg, that is so much fun. I read his chart. That's in there somewhere that I did his chart. And the yin fire is bringing money in from different sources. It speaks of love. It also speaks of health concerns. And again, pivoting her roles, finding new ways to present herself and to be herself. And there's change in all of this. There is a changeable quality to this time of her life as she is kind of innovating and intuiting what to do and who to be next. So, in this long video, which thank you for sticking with me, we are now going to look at her 2025. The year of the snake is hitting her luck cycle and her year. It is amplifying the situation that is already in her chart. And this really speaks of movement for her. It could be a change of where she lives. It could be a real move. It could also be that she's traveling a whole lot more. Maybe she and Snoop Dogg do a, I don't know, foods around the world thing. I don't know. Be really fun, whatever they do together. Anyway, so it is a yin wood. This is going to highlight her relationship with Alexis, her daughter. It is also going to be a year 2025 that is really kind of motivating her into some new cool projects. And the snake is wealth. It is moving. It is travel. It's buying stuff. It's wealth. It's celebrity. She's doing awesome. Tucked into this is her career and things having to do with taxes, finances, the law, government stuff, okay? And again, she's going to need to be careful, except that the snake is her nobleman star. And so I think that it will be an okay year for her after all. And if nothing else, things might get sticky, but then some saving grace comes in. So I think next year won't be too dramatic, but I do think there is a lot of instability and movement for her. The pig is just not a good presence. And yeah, not the best situation. It's like a double conflict happening there. But again, it's her year, so it's not as personal. But it's going to be an interesting one to see nonetheless. So a lot of conflict, but you got angels on your side. It's better than none, right? Anyway, thank you, thank you. Martha Stewart was so amazing. What a chart to read. And coming up next, we are going to be looking at the astrology of some of the stars, celebrities going into 2025 who have this fire penalty. I also want to look at Ashton Kutcher and his wife and what's going on with them. But I also want to give like little sneak peeks into what's going on for 2025. But there is still so much to go. So until then, until next time, please be well.